right, welcome back to the Schlabcast. Andy and Caleb here,
Mm,
back on a Saturday
mm.
night with a special Dallas and Eagles game preview going on. If you could not already tell, we teased about it in our earlier video with me and Jeff. But Caleb, how are you doing?
After a crazy week, I'm doing great. There are two just insane weeks out of the year. Both of them happen to be when the Eagles and Cowboys are playing. Sometimes we're blessed with a third, I suppose, if it's the playoffs, but our first of two meetings kind of late in the year. Like we usually play like week 4 or something. I feel like we have at least some kind of early October game, but looking forward to it. I think both teams are playing like some of their best football of the year too right now. So I think we're just going to be in for a really good game. The last I saw, the Eagles are favored by 3. You get anywhere from a point and a half to 3 points at home from Vegas. So that kind of falls in line. And it opened at like 3.5, I think, or 3. I thought it would be closer to like 5 or 5.5. I thought the Eagles would have like a pretty good Vegas zone number or something. But yeah, what do you think? You lean in any particular way? You nervous about any matchups?
I thought it would open maybe similar to what you said at first, like closer to 5, but then considering how both games went last week and how the Cowboys had such a dominant game against the Rams, and then seeing
Yeah.
that the Eagles having to go really toe to toe with the Commanders for that long and having it be that close, I think it just makes sense that 3 points sounds about right. I think you did mention something earlier about the matchup predictor on ESPN, right? Did you want to
Yeah.
mention that?
Yeah. So, all right, if you hit up the game before it starts, the ESPN matchup predictor has a Dallas winning the game at 49.7%, the Eagles at 49.9, which Noah outright winner according to them. There's a 0.4% chance they tie. Ties annoy the shit out of me. And I can't even tell you the last time Dallas tied a game. I don't know if I've actually seen it, but when it's any other team, God, it's just so stupid. And if that happens tomorrow, not stoked. That's not good for the Cowboys, I think, too, in the long run. So hoping it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I saw from an Eagles reporter, just looking at it from their perspective, like winning this game, I think essentially launches them to like a 70, almost 80% chance of like the number one seed, but
Yeah.
then losing it, it goes down to like 25% or something like that.
Yeah.
So just,
It's kind of nuts. I mean, it's late in the season to play, but it's only week 9 of 17.
yeah,
We're
half
halfway through. So
halfway, exactly.
I got up the DraftKings sports book. I'm just kind of seeing what some of these like numbers here are. I mean, AJ has just been playing out of his mind. Bland's probably going to be picking him up, and Bland's a little undersized in my opinion, so that might be a problem. I would just kind of double over on AJ Brown like as much as possible. But Jalen Hurts, 50 plus yard completion, 13-1.
Mm.
You have a lot of deep plays like that. You think he can get one down? I mean, it's not that he has to, it could be a 10-yard, pass that turns into 50, but do we see any of those ever? For Dak, it's also 13-1. And there's been a couple where it's just like little dinks off to like CD or what's his face?
Cooks?
Not Cooks. Our stupid running back that can only
Oh,
run in.
Pollard.
Yeah, Pollard. He's been driving me nuts, man.
Yep.
Wish the running game's a little bit better, but he just doesn't like hit gaps very well.
I haven't been fully like focusing on your team, but like you think it's more him than the offensive line?
Not No, not the interior line. The tackles have been kind of mismatched all around and stuff. And but I think he's just lost a step compared to the past few years. I think he was a good change of pace back, but he's not the bell cow or anything. I saw another thing in the past 5 games, Dallas is 4-1, but in like the
Mm.
past 4 or 5 years, they have split like 3 or 4 of them. There's only been one year where Philly won both of them. I think it was 2018, 2018. I think that's when Dak was injured too, that they won both those games. We've been like splitting this series for years now.
Yeah, it feels
It's
like that too. It just feels like every year it's gonna like we're gonna each win one.
Christmas Eve 2017, Dallas wins 6-0 at Philly. I don't think we're going to see a game like that, but
I don't even remember that. Six.
yeah, yeah, dude.
Who was
Um,
playing that day?
that had to have been like the end of the season, you know.
Oh yeah.
So it could have just been like, and it could have just been trash too. But let's see,
Wait,
2017
2017
was,
was the Eagles Super Bowl.
so you guys probably weren't playing too many people, and like that was the year Zeke kept like getting suspended but not suspended. That was a pretty bad year for Dallas after such a like a 13-3 2016 year. But outside of that, what I was gonna say is, or ask you is, do you think we see another split here? Do you think? I think just on paper, Philly's a better team, like kind of regardless of where they're
I
playing. But what do you think?
I mean, I definitely see a split. Like I said earlier, like the fact that we play the Commanders that close, I just think it's just inevitable. And then just going back to this game, I know, like you mentioned earlier about the whole AJ Brown thing. I just think as much as I'd love to see AJ Brown go for, I think it's maybe six or maybe the seventh game in a row with like 120 yards plus to try to continue to
Oh
break that
yeah,
record. I don't want to jinx it, but I do think the Cowboys will have a game plan for that. Dan Quinn, he seems to really be good about knowing how to limit the Eagles' offensive weapons. So I would love to see a deep shot, but we'll see. I think maybe it will have to come down to more of the other players in the Eagles stepping up more, maybe more Devontae Smith, maybe more Goddard.
the AJ Brown over under number for yards is 83 and a half, with the over being the slight favorite. Devonta at 49 and a half, which is
I think
even on
that's
each
okay.
side. You think that's what?
I was gonna say for the Devontae one that stuck out to me. I think he can go over 50.
What about Goddard?
I think Goddard can get at least 50 too.
Yeah, his number is 44 and a half. And I actually
Yeah.
think that's a little bit of a weakness for Dallas's defense is that tight end position. Goddard always has a good game against Dallas. He just does. He grew up a Cowboys fan. I think he's from Dallas and his
His
family's a huge
I think
I
his
think that's why his name is Dallas.
yeah, his I think his dad is like a diehard fan.
Yeah, let's see. Cooks though. Yeah, CD's at 76 and a half and Brandon Cooks at 37 and a half.
Yeah, CD's been really hot as well
Yeah.
too.
Like his reception count is really the most astonishing thing. He's just always getting like 5 yard slants when he's in the slot. Try to see if there's just like an actual reception. Okay, AJ Brown 6.5 is his reception number.
Okay.
With the
That's
over being
close.
the underdog, you get some actual value off that. CD 5.5, which the over is a huge favorite.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Just smashing that. How do you feel about the tight end?
Dallas Goddard's right now 4.5 is his over under, and I think he's gonna have a good game, especially if they're in the red zone. They're gonna look right at him. Even outside of that, I don't know what 25 to 50 yard on like the other side, like the other team's side is, but when you're like on the 40, he's like always good at putting you like right on the 20 yard line. You know, just getting a good 20 yard reception, just falling down right in the middle of the field.
What are your thoughts on the tush push, the brotherly shove?
Oh, well, I don't really whatever. I think that'd be a really hard rule to regulate. And eventually there's gonna be some teams that kind of figure out a way on the defensive line to really just like stand up guys, and it won't be a thing so much anymore. I don't really care. They do it all the time when guys are like running and they get like 4 yards up the field, guys will come in the back and they'll just keep pushing them forward and stuff. Like, why isn't it any different?
Yeah, they should put that
What
on there
do you think?
on the odds. I think it's like a over under of like 1.5.
Of tush pushes. Now,
Yeah.
okay, how much like hand needs to be on tush for it to be considered a push? Like, do we need to have palm or fingers okay?
I guess fingers are okay, but palm is ideal. At this point, it looks like the Eagles use like two people. They use like Goddard and the running back to push.
I was gonna say, does DeAndre like have to go gloveless? Oh damn, yeah, the overtime odds are kind of crazy. But anyway, I'll get out
Um,
of that. I can
yeah,
get lost
yeah,
looking
no
at
worries.
those things.
And
You were
then
talking about injury report.
yeah,
Anything outstanding to you that you want to talk about?
yeah, I was just glancing over it just to see nothing too crazy for the Eagles comparative to last week or other weeks when they had more of the secondary was more of a factor and then interior D line. But we have most of the people. Just a few death pieces that we're going to be missing, but nothing that should prevent us from that make significant impact. But I did notice, obviously, we're talking about it. Tyron Smith being questionable. It looks like he had like two DNPs Wednesday, Thursday, but then Friday got a limited practice. So it looks like they're just gonna keep it all the way up till the game time.
I bet he dresses out, but I don't know.
How do you feel about the backup?
Well, they've had to like kind of switch around the line a little bit. Like right now, the main guy that's been coming in for him is Idoga, Chuma Idoga, and he's actually pretty good. And Steele has moved over to left tackle a couple times, but he's much better at right. What really sucked was when Biadasz went down for a little bit, and we had to have Hoffman. Or no, I don't remember exactly, but him, Martin, and Smith missed a game together, and I want to say that was the Cardinals game.
Mm.
So, I mean, Smith's a big deal. I mean, the dude's been in the league, it seems like, for 15 years. The guy's just like kind of more machine now than anything. But if Adoga's got to come in, I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal.
Too bad you can't kick the tires on 41-year-old Jason Peters. He'll be active for the Seahawks tomorrow.
Yeah.
Former Eagle, former Cowboy Jason Peters.
Yeah, man. Which I was gonna say, is Lane Johnson okay?
He's okay. He's always battling something, but he's not on the injury report.
Okay, because last week he was like at least limping hard. He
Yeah,
went straight out
yeah.
after he went down.
The week before, yeah, he kind of had a bad injury, but he said that he started toughing it out the Miami Dolphins week because it was a big game. So
If he's down, do you like Driscoll? Is he the guy that usually takes over, or
if I don't expect him to be down, but if he is down, I do not like Driscoll.
okay?
That is a problem. That would be something to highlight. And then Michael Parsons would be all over that, I guarantee you. The only one that will be out for sure for the Eagles is technically our starting right guard, but he's been out since like week 2. He's technically the
Cam,
weakest of the 5, but
Steve Cam, some
Cam Jurgens, yeah,
Cam Jurgens.
exactly.
Yeah, I remember seeing
Yeah.
like IR report.
Yeah, he's a
He's their
guard.
backup.
He's really a center. He's technically going to be Jason Kelsey's replacement. Well, that's the thought. But anyway, that's for another time.
Who's
But
his backup?
his backup it was this guy named Sua Opeta, but now it might be our rookie Tyler Steen, who's from Alabama.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
he's got some big game experience.
The good thing about the O-line is like, yeah, he's gonna be in between Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson. So two good people to be in between.
So I haven't watched a ton. Well, actually, I take that back. I've watched a bunch of Eagles. It just always seems like they're on offense whenever I happen to be looking
That's
over
funny.
him. Nakobe Dean starts, right?
Yeah, he starts.
Nolan Smith doesn't start.
No.
Okay. Does Jalen Carter start?
Technically he doesn't start, but
Okay.
he
He gets
plays a
some
lot of
time.
snaps. Yeah.
And then Ringo, does he play?
Not as much.
Okay.
He's more depth.
All those guys were Georgia guys, right?
Yeah, the only Georgia guys that start on defense is Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis
Okay,
right
yeah, because they
now.
have like Reddick too, another
Yeah.
linebacker.
Yeah,
He's just
Nolan Smith is behind Reddick and Graham
yeah,
and Josh Sweat.
yeah, he should be. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on Reddick.
Game plan, I would probably obviously, yeah, try to attack the left tackle side, especially if Jason Peters isn't there. We need to limit the run game because I always feel like the Cowboys are just really good at play action, or Dak Prescott is just really good at that. And he just always seems to kill the Eagles at that.
He's been playing more with his legs, so I would expect him to get moving. Oh, come on. Dak's rushing total over under is 15 and a half yards, and Jalen's is 28 and a half.
Yeah, those are both over.
Yeah.
Even
And
though
then
Jalen has been a little bit injured too, but he's not on the injury report. He's just been a little bit battling something.
no Deuce Vaughn number.
What's
Bullshit.
exactly? He is just the type of player too. I'm gonna say it here too. I feel like he's gonna just make some sort of play, some wow play in this game at some
Yeah,
point.
little bubble screen and just pulls out a
Yeah.
60-yarder out of nowhere. That'd be sick. Unfortunately, we will not be one of the 70,000 at the link. Do you have any type of score prediction or game prediction?
So I think it's gonna be
Any-
close. Like I said, I do give the offense battle edge, I guess, to the Eagles. Defense, I think it kind of be it's pretty close, honestly. Special teams wise, actually give it to you guys. Actually, I think you guys have better special teams in general. I think it's gonna obviously help being at Lincoln Financial Field, having that vibe and just
Yeah.
Philly atmosphere.
Yeah, battery throwing is a vibe.
It's yeah, it's just it's a tough place to play. I'm looking at a relatively high scoring game. I think it could be like a 30-27 kind of game.
Okay.
Eagles.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I think it's something like that too. I think the kickers actually are a big deal, especially early in the game. There's going to be a lot of just like, well, they're kind of stopped right on the 35. Do they go for this 50 yarder or, they go and, off 4th and 4, they're going to try for it again. I think kicking is going to be a big deal. So it hurts, but I believe in the split. And if we were playing at Dallas, I would think the line is Dallas -3 or Dallas -2 or something. And since we're in Philly, I think Philly pulls it out with some type of kick at the end. It's also an afternoon game,
I
which
know.
is not the vibe.
Yeah, I wish it
It's
would have for sure been flexed to Sunday night. Although Bills and Bengals, I can kind of understand, but the Jets Chargers Monday night, no, no.
even Bengals Bills, like I don't really see that being much of a fireworks show. The Bills are on their way down and the Bengals are like just kind of figuring out how to stay above water. So all right, well, my score prediction, I'm gonna say 26-24 Eagles. But in case of an upset, 34-30 Dallas. Mark it down.
Okay. As much as I wouldn't like it to happen, I would not be surprised if Dallas wins this game, but it'll definitely be, like I said earlier, just definitely change the narrative regardless of how it ends for the Eagles. Because if they win, it looks great, 8-1 heading into the bye. We have a really tough schedule after. That
Or
includes the Bills, 49ers, Chiefs.
Chiefs, yeah.
But if we were to lose, go to, I believe, what, 7-2, and then now there's a lot of more questions about like how are you gonna get through this rest of this schedule?
You want to hear ours after? So we've already had our bye week. We got you guys. And then it's home versus the Giants at Carolina. And then
Okay.
3 straight home games of Washington and then the Seahawks and then the Eagles again for Sunday night.
Wow, yeah, that's a nice little 4 game.
That's a good 4 week fucking
Yeah.
bring it on. Yeah.
What-
So if we could pull this out and go 6-2, rolling into those 4 weeks, we could literally be looking at a 10-2 Cowboys team. So
That's
I think it is kind of a big game. And I totally forgot that you guys go into your bye week. And I do think some dudes look at that. I think some guys hit the brakes a little too early because they're just so worn out. And it's also an extra hour of sleep. Spooky shit. I
I,
do think Dak throws an interception and just always throw money at that bet. It's just ridiculous, but
yeah, I know there would be a ton of energy at the link. It is a little weird again, like you said, just being this afternoon game. It feels a little funny. But I
do we
know
know
there's
what the weather's like?
but I know there's already Eagles fans lined up right now.
Dude, if we were there, we'd be lined up. I would be wearing the same stuff. Prep. Definitely
Weather.
feeling like I'm not going to get beat up. So the game time weather, 58 degrees, partly sunny. It's pretty
Okay.
nice but it's going to be dark. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to add in? A nuggets you've heard this week or other predictions,
Trying to
other things
think.
the
Trying to
fans
think.
should look out for?
Not too much. Our running back game will be a little bit interesting. Kenny Gainwell is our RB2. He's been getting a lot of negative feedback lately from fans, just over an overall play. And then at one point last week, a fan had DM'd him, and then he responded back during the game, or maybe it was during halftime, but not a good look. It's possible that they might have activate Rashad Penny for the first time, who's hasn't played
Okay.
all year. That's like a small note. I mean, Julio Jones now is going to be just another week in the system. It's just weird talking about Julio Jones as an Eagle. In a lot of ways, as much as I like him, I kind of wish we had traded for maybe like a Hunter Renfro or something like that, just because I thought he's a little younger and I think his skill set kind of complements like a Devontae Smith and AJ Brown a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Julio, just seeing if how he contributes, because he's going to be the wide receiver 3.
Really, he's already up that high.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be
Yeah.
playing a lot.
It
Okay. Well,
Quez
hey,
Watkins is not wasn't doing much, and then he's on IR. What about you guys?
Cooks has really figured out how to work himself into the system. So he is kind of a threat now, I think. I really believe that Dallas plays best when they incorporate multiple tight ends and Dak uses his feet. If Dak is running, and especially if he's getting even like 2 or 3 yard just pickups instead of just standing in the pocket way too long, I think they just improve their odds of winning quite a bit. And I think when they get like 2 or 3 tight ends, just like constant, like each one will get like 4 receptions during the game. They're kind of just unstoppable on offense. So I hope they spread the ball out. I know CD's been playing lights out, but we can't just rely on him.
Hmm. And then maybe touching on one more thing, just the coaching. How are you feeling about Dallas? I mean, on the Eagles side, feel fairly confident about Sirianni. The coordinators have been doing a little bit better. Again, like we have the two brand new coordinators. Offensively was a little bit underwhelming at times, but it looks like OC Brian Johnson is slowly getting it together. Defensive side, it looks like it's picking up. I like that he's been a little bit more creative. I mean, it doesn't say much when you're upgrading over Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of the
Yeah.
Cardinals, but I do like that he's being more creative with the blitz scheme and stuff like that and not being so passive. But how do you feel about the Cowboys side? McCarthy, there's no more Kellen Moore, so how do you feel about
Yeah.
everything?
So yeah, Brian Schottenheimer's he's been a fine offensive coordinator. I just could not stand Kellen Moore. Dan Quinn's awesome. He like completely changed the entire defense after the Marinelli and Mike Nolan years. I don't really care for Mike McCarthy too much. I think he's above average, but I don't think he's like an elite coach anymore or anything. I do think John Fassell, the special teams coach, he's been around for a few years.
Yeah,
I think
I like
he's
him.
awesome.
Yeah,
He the special teams like always have like such a crazy play somewhere in the game, which I don't know if it's because of our secondary coach Joe Witt, but he's like definitely changed how the whole secondary acts. So
gonna say you always have like a strong kicking game, and then I like your return game too with Turpin.
yeah, Turpin's been great. He gets a couple big catches a game too. So I think we got a high scoring game. I think the line was 46 and a half for total. I think it's gonna, unless everyone comes out just super, cold or something, I think we see, like you were saying, like a 30-27, like pretty good high scoring game. I don't have too much else to add. I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I think we've done it too. It's upon us. Eagles, Dallas,
Here we go. All right. Well, maybe we'll catch each other after the game and do like a quick recap.
for sure.
See how each other's mood is. All right, Caleb's
Yeah.
here. He's not turning his video screen on, but he's here. All right. Well, I'll see you later, man. And yeah, really looking forward to next week as it comes up. Oh shit, yeah, we did a good video. Look at
Oh
us.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at us going all out for you guys, you know. Who's putting in the time, the content on a Saturday night? I like
We
it.
are
The Schlabcast is here for you
grinding out,
guys.
grinding it out as always. All right, man. You have a great night. Rest
All
your
right.
evening. Go
You,
Cowboys.
you too. Take care. Go
See you, man.
birds.
Birds. All right, dude. See
All
ya.
right. All right. Peace.